Welcome again, everyone. The next session that we have for today is titled as Orenda, Flash Fiction Based in Modern India. This will be a discussion on Shalaka Kulkarni's debut novel, Orenda. Shalaka Kulkarni is an artist, TEDx speaker, and a global marketing professional. She currently manages global corporate branding at Microland. Along with her, in the conversation, we have Tony V. Francis, who's a Bangalore-based author and a media professional. Over to you, Tony.
Thank you so much. And Shalaka, big pleasure to host you, rather moderate you in this session called Flash Fiction Based in Modern India. And the book is titled Orenda. So let's just go directly into the session. Orenda, what does it mean?
So Orenda basically means that, the magical, mystical force which is vested in us as human beings to do good. So pretty wholesome word from old English literature.
Right. Let me assure the audience that this is a very charming, I can see some familiar faces there, a very charming book. This may be looking small, but it's power-packed. About 440 words each story, but it just leaves you charmed is what I would, how I would put it. What does flash fiction mean, Shalaka?
So flash fiction is a very technical term in literature. So microfiction is something which is around 100 words, 100 to 200 words, and flash fiction is after that around 200 but less than 1,000 words, and then short stories more than 1,000 to 2,500. And it is a very catchy and unknown terminology that way. So I get this a lot, what flash fiction actually is. And, it is a very technical term based on the number of words. So the stories in Orenda, there are 52 stories, which would range from 300 to 450 words in general.
Now you claim, at least you set out by saying that this is flash fiction.
Yeah.
And I know the kind of effort that must have taken to just concise all those stories into perhaps 2, maximum 3 pages. What is the pressure like for you as an author?
So I think writing in brief is very challenging. To drive the same impact in very less words, I'm sure you would relate because you are an author yourself. Writing
mine is 110,000 words, so there's no comparison. So this is far tougher, I'm sure.
So writing anything in brief and conveying the same amount of emotions is very difficult. So I realized that this is my writing style because these stories, these 52 stories are just not written over a short span, but compiled over 8 to 9 years. And I have been writing since the age of 8. I started writing in Marathi, which is my mother tongue, and then gradually moved to English. During my master's, I used to, ask my friends for 5 random words to widen my perspective, and then I used to knit them together to completely, form a story. And that's how it began. And then I realized that this is my forte maybe, and I should stick to it. I tried newer forms of writing, but then I realized if I have to release a book, I will definitely talk about flash fiction.
Right. At some point, very soon, I would be getting specific on some of the stories in your book. This is for all those who are dreaming of writing their first book, because if I ask those in the audience, how many of you want to write a book, I'm sure there'll be a lot of hands up there. What was your journey to write your body of work that's lying right there?
Well, it's so it is somewhere in my blood. I come from a family of writers and authors and literary enthusiasts. So I have nurtured it over the period of time. In 2019, I keep doing these writing challenges every now and then, one in April and one in October. So I write for like 31 days straight based on the prompts in October for October and National Poetry Writing Month in April. So after October 2019, I was, wondering if I have enough content to make it into a book. And that's where it began. It took me exactly 2 years. I started on 2nd of November 2019, and I launched the book on 5th of November 2021. So writing was the easy part. Publishing is difficult. Selling is even more difficult. And, people today have less attention spans. So making people read or seeking feedback is next level. It's a next level challenge. But flash fiction in general is very snackable form of content. Any story, I'm sure Tony you would agree to this, that any story could be consumed in 2 to 3 minutes. So I thought that it was the need of the hour, because people are losing the attention spans are reducing day by day. But with this, maybe there might be a shift. People might start reading because this is very snackable. A friend of mine has written on Amazon that this is TikTok for readers.
Having said that, I would not say that there's I would say there's no compromise at all in terms of the soul of each story,
Right.
because the impact has remained as is. In fact, something that you said about today's readers as such, Shani is in the audience. I remember one of the first things that she said was there are more writers in India than readers. So I can relate to what you're really saying. A Dadu who's missing his wife, a battered school teacher, a caretaker, dreaming of actually, owning a vehicle to take his wife for a ride. Each of these leaders leave a bit of, at least they can relate to a lot of these stories as such. How do you curate these? You just said that, okay, stories coming, and therefore I'm putting it down. Why did you not kind of put it into, let's say, romance and women empowerment, etc.? Or were you very clear that I'm just going to put everything that's close to my heart and let it just run as is?
Well, these are 52 stories. The logic behind 52 is a story per week of the year. And it also, this is very
Amazing.
personal, but I
Amazing.
realized it later that my birthday is 13/4, which is again 52, 13 into 4. So, I have not, I have not categorized it, because not everyone perceives the same way as I do. So these stories, there might be multiple perspectives, multiple lessons, or multiple feelings. Everyone would take something else. And as we were listening to someone yesterday speaking in one of the session, that perspectives are something which make the world more beautiful. So I wanted people to perceive what they want. So whenever I talk about Arenda, what I say is, may these stories fetch the warmest of smiles in your eyes.
Right. And there's a saying among writers, true writing is actually going onto the streets without clothes. The entire world can see what you really are. How much of this is from your observation, from real life, or what's happened to you as such?
A couple of them are, of course, some are inspired, some are a melange of observations and fiction, and a few of them are completely fictional.
Okay.
Yeah. And I, as I told you, that these have been written over a span of 8 to 9 years. So I have reworked upon a lot of stories as well. The first time I wrote something, it was never final. I thought about multiple endings as well to the story. And what happens with me is I think about the end first and then write the story.
Right. It's time to kind of read a line from your book. See what comes to your mind, okay?
Sure.
Yes, Ma. Today I learned that our house is basically a cell unit. The walls are nothing but the membrane. For you, I'm the nucleus. And Ma, you are the powerhouse of this beautiful cell we reside in. You are my mitochondria.
Yes.
What comes to your mind? And just tell me what you went through when you wrote this little story. Give a little preview of what the
Sure.
story is about.
Sure. So I used to write for this platform called One Frame Stories, where they used to put a frame for every week. And we were supposed to, indite a story in 99 words. So I used to participate on a regular basis. This was through Twitter. And One Frame Stories had put a picture which made me think it was just a house. It was nothing else. And like I was talking about widening my perspective earlier, I have, anything I see or any word you give me, I will think of at least 40 to 50 perspectives or angles or words related to it, which I can compile into a story or, completely different.
Shalaka, I'll just stop you over there just to give you a preview. It's about this student who studies in a night school and then learns about mitochondria.
Yeah.
Goes back home to his mom who is depending on him
Single mother.
completely.
Yeah.
and then this happens. So just perhaps compare both the craft and the story and how it emerged.
So 99 words that time, this was written in 99 words. And the first thing I saw was just the house. And while thinking of different perspectives, house, say, I thought of powerhouse. And then given the background I have, the first thing I could think was of mitochondria. And biology popped in, and that's how I narrated the concept. I thought about the end first, which was, I always want to make the end very impactful so that it should leave a mark on the reader's mind and push them to think, right? Ignite a spark in their minds to think more. So that's how I went about it. I had just seen the house, thinking of it as a powerhouse, and then powerhouse to mitochondria.
Brilliant. Here's another one. It was an unfortunate case of an uncontrolled seizure. Dad took years to get over this trauma. Losing a 22-year-old young daughter is effing hard. He would talk to the walls. And the story ends with, every time the air chimes on it, feels like Marisa is home for Christmas. It's a Malayali family.
Yes.
So remember, all this is in 3 pages, where it's a Malayali family. There are 3 characters, 2 daughters, a father, the daughter's passion, daughter's death, and how does it all end with that one line which I just read for you, which is why I'm saying this book is special, because it packs a lot into 3 pages, and it's tremendous effort. This story of this Malayali family, perhaps I've got this little Malayali Bengali thing in my heart. Tell me the journey of the story.
Sure. So this was written during October. I think the prompt was Christmas. Okay. And I thought of things related to Christmas. And I had once made a Christmas wreath myself. Like, I do art and craft as well. So, and I used to dance Kathak as a child, and I do have ghungroos at my place. So, सारी चीजें देखी एक ही दिन में there were multiple things which I observed, and then I connected, and I have also seen ghungroos on a wreath, right? And this was a completely fictional story. And this was, I think, written last year in October 2020. So, and I had also read somewhere that the temperatures in Kerala are absurd right now. And it all, all connecting all the dots, it just came together. What are your thoughts on the story?
It touched my heart. I saw a lot of things in my head. I saw a daughter who wants to play Mohiniyattam. I saw her hiding it from her parents. I remember in 3 pages. I saw a sister who understood it. I saw her going on stage, absolutely anxious, falling, breaking her teeth. And I read this some time ago. I can remember it even now, very, very vividly, and dying on stage. And a father who never knew that she used to do this or was so passionate.
Yeah.
And how the ghungroos that are kept because of the Mohiniyattam factor are kept there. So that every Christmas, when the wind blows, it's almost as if the daughters come home. So as I said, very, very moving. Clearly, you've got a very sound, passionate mind right there.
Yeah, writing is more of thinking, right? I think writing is the melange of creative intelligence and emotional intelligence. That's how I think the story has come out so well.
And they say, if you don't pick up a book, it'll pick you up. And that's exactly what's happened with this book also. It picked me up. And the next one, I think clearly Shalaka likes her men. She portrays them well in many ways. Of course, when it's wrong, it's wrong. But there's this nice little story where the girl's family handed over her astrological birth chart, her kundli.
Right.
And then towards the end, to which Arnav replies, why couldn't you give us her business card instead? A thing to nurture and not to bury.
Right.
Tell me about this one.
Yeah, because I see a lot of friends. I mean, the typical Indian marriageable age, right? A lot of friends are married, and in an arranged marriage setup, the first thing which comes, which I am not okay with personally. Don't get me wrong. I mean, matching the birth charts and the kundlis. This happens a lot in an Indian scenario, and I'm somewhere not okay with it, right? Because an educated lady who has achieved a lot, and someone asking her for her kundli is somewhere a little disrespectful, right? And just because the kundlis don't match, it doesn't mean that there's no compatibility, or I mean, it just doesn't seem rational to me. And a lot of my friends have faced this. And I've seen this, and how difficult it was for them, even when it was a love marriage setup, and because kundlis match nahi hui, they had to listen to their parents or either go against them. And these are real problems. And I thought, why not write about it in a very positive connotation, where the guy does something, So while that is why the subtitle is flash fiction based in modern India.
Flash fiction based in modern India. And therefore, what does the word, or rather, what does the acronym Marlboro mean to you?
Well, Marlboro is men only remember ladies because of romance only. It's not something I have created. It's already there, and you can Google it. And yes, we do have a story around that as well.
So you are a very young person, yeah, and the story is
I
about.
think so.
Of course you are. Of course you are very enthusiastic, and to those 5 minutes that we spend over there, clearly you're an excited author who wants to get her book right out there. This particular story of Marlboro is about a romance that must have taken place in the 80s, maybe, yeah. This very rebellious chap and this girl who loves him. He becomes a little more domesticated, and he's already married. The girl happens to come home, and I think he's already got kids.
Right,
Remember,
right.
everything in 2 pages. And then they watch something together. I think they watch a painting or something together.
Yeah, it's a soft board.
Soft board together, and then the Marlboro factor happens. A young mind like yours, where do you get these from? Unless it's not from experiences, where is all this coming from?
So this is a bit from experiences, from friends as well, because I've known their stories. This story is really close to my heart as well. And because, my ex did keep my earrings. So, that was also.
Now she's opening up. As I said, authors are nothing but going out there with whatever.
Yeah. Can't disclose much, but he did.
Why not? You're an author. You have the right to it. That's a license you get.
Yeah, I might just read Marlboro then.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You can whenever you want to.
Or we'll leave it up to them to indulge into my personal life when they buy the book.
Absolutely. One of the most powerful stories that really moved me was that of this neighbor auntie who her name is Mrs. Sharla Diwan,
Right.
who teaches English to her neighborly kids. So it's almost in first person narrative, where this auntie says that because you can't afford tuitions, I will teach you. And she makes sure that she teaches these kids how to express words in a certain number of words, etc. At night, she forces them to just stick around because I'm going to feed you with some good food,
Yeah.
but study that much harder.
Yeah.
And then they wonder why is that auntie is making us to study so hard, even at what 10:30 at night, etc., till the husband dozes off.
Right.
Later, they discover the hard truths.
Yeah.
You want to just tell us this story really, and where's the source of this very, very powerful, impactful story? Because ultimately the theme is not teaching. It's something else.
Yes, it's something else. So there are multiple layers which come in. Given that I have a layered style of writing, you picked it right. So my mom and my nanny taught me English grammar. And my nanny used to say that, we can convert one sentence into 80, 88 or 85 types of sentences. So that was one. Second was the domestic violence we see around. Given, my maid spoke about it, my cook spoke about it, and we've seen it, like bell bajao se leke, there are too many too many examples of it. I have a friend from Twitter who also faced it. So yeah, so I thought it's again transformative to write about it. And could you read the last line?
All right.
That will add a little bit of context.
I'll read a little before that and then the last
Yeah,
line.
sure.
As I grew up, I understood the daily case of how do you pronounce that? Onomatopoeias of every night across the hall.
Onomatopoeia.
Try that again.
Onomatopoeia.
One more time. Of every night across the hall, I could see a happily married oxymoron and bruises concealed under her shawl. It took years for her to build her stance, build her voice to stand for herself and seek justice. And the last line, I mean, she could have slammed the door and said the same thing in 85 different ways.
Yes.
Very, very powerful story. I think you deserve a round of applause for that. Really, absolutely stunning. It just moved me.
Thank you so much.
Clearly, as I said, you've got the genre right as a flash fiction writer. And what does a bike ride mean to you? Can you even ride a bike?
Yeah, of course. I do have one here. And it somewhere means liberty to me and freedom. And the story you are talking about, Savari, is what I assume.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. There's also the story of human, I mean, I think trafficking that you mentioned. Again, you go into different spaces, really. My question to you really is that are these topics that really appeal to you, or you said, how do I bring variety and bring more stories in? Because this can go on. You can have lots and lots of stories out there.
So I have been a very observant child,
So, okay, since you mentioned observant child, what's your craft when it comes to observation? Have you done anything specific to become better in observation and then write it down as such?
No, I do not. I haven't learned anything in specific. I haven't learned writing also. So what I do is, if I see anything and that appeals to me, the first thought which hits me is something I note down, either in my phone or if I have a notepad. I do note it down, and that's how I build the story around it. If it is just a single thought or just a single word, sometimes, I mean, in terms of observation, we see a lot of things around. We just need to sit back, ruminate, and bring them back to the form of writing which we all do. So in terms of observation, anything I observe, anything which I feel right now in this moment, and I'll go back and I'll pen it down either in my notebook or my phone, and then revisit it, because writing needs peace, and I don't want to do anything in haste on the go. No, I don't write like that. I just observe, keep it to myself, and then go back to it and create something out of it.
Right. Before I ask you to read a story as such, for those who want to write, is flash fiction a great way to start writing itself?
So I would say that, anyone who wants to write any form of writing, either poetry or flash fiction or short stories or even a novel, I think free writing or free form is something they should start with, because I don't want anyone to restrict their thoughts in the first place, because when you do free form, you just have a lot of things from which you can pick and choose of what you like, and not just restrict कि मुझे 300 words में ही लिखना है, या I just want to write 100-word story. I wouldn't recommend that. I would just say that just go with the flow, let it flow, and then you can edit it. You can always edit it. I have edited the book 8 times myself. So I think free form is something I would recommend.
Shalka Kulkarni, you've been absolutely charming, and if you can just indulge the audience with a reading from the book. You want me to hold that pen for you?
Sorry?
You can just
No, I can keep it. Sorry. So before I read a story, I would like to read the blurb so that it gives them a little more perspective on what is inside. So for me, it is a gallery. It is a gallery of local Indian markets, gajras and peppermints. It serves mate coat and adhesives on a dinner plate. There are earrings on soft boards and Marlboros on the college canteen floor. It has gungroos on a Christmas wreath and embroidery hoops stuck in rusty buses. It echoes the walls of a boho apartment and art classes in kaleidoscopic brothels. This is a gallery of the supernatural, divine, extraordinary, and inherent, the power within us and all living beings, of delivery executive Manju, architect Gagi, Professor Miller, vagabond Bilwa, security guard Amar Chacha, and umpteen. This is Orenda. This is us. Thank you. So I plan to read Charmolpi.
Please.
Charmolpi is the second story and one of my favorites. So this is Charmolpi was written out of those 5 random words given by a friend of mine. Charmolpi means joy making sorrow, a Greek expression of happiness and sadness at the same time. Manju was born in Shimoga, Karnataka. This wanderer moved to Bangalore at the age of 16 in search of job prospects. Landed a job as a chef cum waiter at a local Udupi restaurant. Being a fidgety human, Manju was bored with doing the dishes and desperately wanted to get out of it. Cleaning the marble table, Manju murmured to a regular customer, "I have been here for 6 years, Ramesh Babu. It feels so caged. I desperately want to get out of it. Can you help?" Ramesh Babu was a middle-aged businessman, well acquainted with the e-commerce dynamics. He suggested a job Manju would enjoy. "You can be a delivery executive, you know. You can deliver food, clothes, medicines, and happiness to people. What do you think?" "Ati Uttama, Babu, Ati Uttama." In a week, Manju joined a leading e-commerce brand, bought Babu's 12-year-old red scooty as well. Basic English lessons and road explorations had begun in full fervor. It was review time after 3 months. The charts shone bright with a 4.6-star rating, but the manager's face clearly communicated that something was amiss. "We came across a feedback about your code of conduct. A few customers have mentioned that you say 'bless you' while delivering the order. Is it true, Manju?" "Yes, it was true and a little odd." "Yes, ma'am, I do. I know it wasn't taught in the training sessions. You might be thinking I say 'bless you' because we deliver happiness to people. But I say 'bless you' because I'm happy and sad at the same time." The crowd was flummoxed because they're privileged. They know what to buy and what would make them look great. "Sorry, what exactly?" Manju gasped and gazed at the warehouse premises filled with packed and unpacked orders, fellow executives and seniors, big walls and ceiling fans, and spoke after 2 deep breaths about the closet. "Thanks to this uniform, I don't know what will look good on me, madam. A crop top or a sports tee, a palazzo or maybe a maxi. A crop top or a sports tee, a palazzo or maybe a maxi. The truth is, I don't even know if you should address me by Manjunath or Manjushri." Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Shalaka Kulkarni and her book Orenda. It's absolutely available to be downstairs, and of course she'll sign it for you. Shalaka, absolute pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you so much, Tony. It was a lovely session. Thank you. Thank you so much.